If you've spent any meaningful amount of time with narcissists, you've probably noticed that logic and rationality are not their strong suits. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why it is exactly that logic and rationality are so hard for narcissists to work with. Why sometimes the simplest, most straightforward questions can be answered with pure nonsense, and sometimes it seems like the narcissist doesn't even understand what reality is. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. I really want to dive deep into this, into why a seemingly normal, grown adult can be so unable to grasp what seem like simple concepts or things that are right in front of their face. Logic, rationality, common sense, 1 + 1 = 2. Why sometimes narcissists are so fiercely opposed to these things. Narcissists live in their own version of reality, completely devoid of logic. To a narcissist, logic and rationality are unnecessary parts of a functional life. They are not all that useful. Logic and rationality don't further their agenda. In fact, they usually get in the way. If you are in an abusive or exploitive relationship with a narcissist and you were to use logic and rationality, you would probably just leave them. You would probably stop trying to explain things to them. You would probably stop tolerating their behavior. You would probably stop believing them after the 9th or 10th or 99th time they've lied to you. That is logic, that is common sense, that is rationality, and those things are not useful to narcissists. In fact, logic is a narcissist's worst enemy. And I don't mean to insult anybody by suggesting that if you stay with a narcissist or put up with a narcissist, that you are not capable of logic, rationality, and common sense, but narcissists have a way of manipulating people into ignoring those things, of dragging people into their own nonsensical version of reality. And I think anyone can fall prey to this, into the trap of thinking with our emotions the same way that narcissists do. Narcissists know how to drag you into their world of emotional logic, which is not logic at all, into buying into their belief system, which is based purely on what they want to be real, what they hope is real. If you believe it, if you say it, it must be true. This is really like a magic wonderland. It really can make you crazy, as I'm sure many of you are aware of. I know I've been in arguments with narcissists where we hear things like a narcissist demanding that we be rational, that we use common sense, that we think about what we're doing, while at the very same time they are pushing something on us that makes absolutely no sense. They are arguing about something that is completely irrational. It's like this backward funhouse full of mirrors that's not very fun at all, and everything is what exactly it's not. A narcissist actually feels like they can declare what logic is. This is logical and this is rational because I say it is. And that's all the proof that anyone needs. That's what logical and rational means, is whatever I say is logical and rational. To try to understand why this is the world that narcissists live in, we need to understand that narcissists think with their emotions. They do not think in logical, rational ways. They don't apply critical thought, because critical thought only shows you the truth. It only shows you reality, and narcissists are often trying to create their own reality. And narcissists believe in their emotional interpretation. Narcissists trust their emotions to tell them what is real, and they only trust their emotions. They don't trust you, they don't trust reason, they don't trust reality, they trust the way they feel. If they feel like 1 + 1 = 3, then 1 + 1 = 3, no matter what, and you will never convince them otherwise. And there are other reasons for this other than just that they think and trust through their emotions. Narcissists get caught in all kinds of traps where their coping mechanisms don't quite add up with reality. One example is the way that narcissists get so angry, so full of rage over things that they're not really angry about. They are full of rage as they are, and then they look for something to blame that on. So if they're full of anger and rage, and then they see that you left your shoes on the wrong side of the door, they can pretend that they are full of rage because of you, because you left your shoes on the wrong side of the door. But if you start trying to use logic and reason and rationality, and you say, you never told me I needed to put my shoes on that side of the door, or why would you get so angry about my shoes being on that side of the door? And you try to communicate and understand rationally and logically why this person is so angry, you'll be spun around in circles forever. And that is simply because the shoes are not the real reason that the narcissist is upset. But the narcissist's emotions tell the narcissist that the shoes are the reason that the narcissist is upset. So the narcissist cannot use logic and rationality in this scenario, because if the narcissist was to use rationality and logic, the narcissist would have to face the fact that the shoes are not the real reason that they're upset. And if they were to do that, they'd have to face the real reason they're upset, and that would lead to a lot of soul searching and honesty with themselves and facing truths that they are not going to face. And in this scenario that you might be caught in with them, where they're raging at you and you're just really trying to understand why they're so mad about something that doesn't really seem to matter, and something that they never told you to do in the first place, and all you're getting back from them is more and more nonsense and more rage, and they're just telling you, I did tell you that when they didn't, or why would you not put your shoes on that side of the door? And still nothing is making any kind of sense. What you aren't seeing is that by trying to nail them down with logic, you are asking them to acknowledge how they really feel, to acknowledge truths, to take accountability for their own emotions, to take responsibility for the way that they're behaving. They feel like it's your fault that they're upset, and they feel like it's because you left your shoes on the wrong side of the door. That is their reality, period. Just like if they feel like 1 + 1 = 3, you will never convince them otherwise, no matter how correct and rational you're trying to be. They are way too emotionally invested in their own narrative. It's the only thing that helps them feel safe, helps them feel like they've got 2 feet on the ground. And they can't be rational and logical, because to do so would mean they'd have to face reality about themselves. And narcissists build up their entire identity as a false facade. Everything they do and say, everything they present themselves as is a lie. They live a lie, a facade, a fabrication, a character in a fictional story they've written. They can't be logical about that any more than you can demand logic and rationality from a fictional story. If the narrative that they're so emotionally invested in, the narrative that's making them feel okay from moment to moment, that's helping them cope with their life, conflicts with reality, they're going to choose the narrative. They're going to choose the story. They're going to choose the false self before they are ever going to face reality. There's nothing in reality for them. There's nothing in truth and facts that they value more than they value their story. To expect a narcissist to accept and embrace truth and logic and rationality is to expect them to give up everything they've ever tried to convince themselves of. It's to expect them to accept a reality that to them feels life-threatening, feels like the end of the world. Logic is threatening. Reasoning and truth and facts are threatening. These are things that they will feel like you are betraying them if you cling to these things too tightly. If you insist on truth, if you insist on talking in a rational way, on them explaining to you in a rational way why they're so mad about your shoes being on that side of the door. They look at that as a betrayal. They expect you to cooperate with their narrative and to go along with their fantasy world so that they can feel okay about themselves. When you insist on facing the truth, they feel like you're pushing them to do something that they shouldn't have to do, and that you're betraying them, that you owe it to them to follow them down the path of their fantasy world. They don't care how much that costs you, because you're just seen as a prop, and you're someone whose sole purpose is to help them prop up and fortify this false self that they've created. For you to sit there and try to insist on truth and facts, that goes completely against the whole purpose of why you exist in their mind. Another reason that narcissists can't accept truth and reality is because you always have to be the bad guy. Narcissists are going to create narratives around the things that they do wrong, around the problems that they cause, around the ways they sabotage themselves, around the ways that they destroy their own relationships, around the ways that they push people that are still useful to them out of their lives, that they cause their own problems, but they cannot accept responsibility for these things. They have to pretend that everything that goes wrong in their life is somehow your fault or somebody else's fault. And this has to be backed up by some fanciful delusional story, which has to be devoid of logic and rationality, because if we apply logic and truth, then the narcissist would have to face the facts that they're the ones that have messed up so many things in their life for no good reason. In order for them to be able to continue to blame you and everyone else for all the problems in their life, in order for them to cling to the comfort of always being the victim, they can't apply logic. They have to reject rationality. Another component to this is the way that narcissists feel like they're in charge of reality, that they can somehow manifest whatever they want to be. Narcissists are so incredibly self-centered. They really feel like they're the center of the universe, and they really feel like they can dictate reality, that they're the only real person that exists, that all of this, that this entire world and everything in it is just for them, that no one else matters. No one else really is a real person. So they feel like they can declare something and it magically makes it true. They can say or believe whatever they want based on how they feel or based on what they want to be true. And they really believe that if they say it enough, and if other people agree with them and other people believe them, then it doesn't really matter what's actually true, what really happened. If they're in a room with 100 people that all agree that something happened a certain way, it doesn't matter if it really happened that way, as long as they have the support of their own fantasies and all these people around them agreeing with them. That's what matters. That's what makes something real. Pretending something to them is more real than what actually happened or what is really real. And if you are sitting there trying to insist that they face reality, or trying to insist that, no, that's not what happened, this is what happened, look, here's the proof, look, here's the logical, rational reasons that I believe that what actually happened yesterday is what actually happened, you are just seen as somebody that is ruining their narrative. You're just causing problems for them. You're just trying to make life difficult for them, and now they're the victim again. How dare you not cooperate with the fantasy that they're so invested in? I mean, why are you being so difficult? Because you're so hung up on something that actually happened? Who cares? Narcissists are in a constant state of spinning reality, of manipulating the world around them, of trying to mold everyone around them and the whole world around them into cooperating with the story that they're constantly writing. They're always writing a story that's not based in reality, and they're always trying to get the reality around them to cooperate with that story. You aren't supposed to notice that they're doing this. You are just supposed to go along unquestioningly accepting their reality and their stories. When you apply scrutiny and critical thought to their fantasy world, it will almost always fall apart. And this is why they have absolutely no interest and no use for logic, rationality, truth, facts, or critical thinking. If you are really loyal to a narcissist and you really care about or love a narcissist in their mind, you will never question them. You will never ask them to explain anything that doesn't make sense. You will just blindly believe and accept absolutely everything that they ever say or ever want to believe. You will just go along with what they want. To do anything otherwise, in their mind, makes you a traitor. I hope you can see how impossible it really is to have a deep, meaningful relationship with somebody that can never acknowledge the truth and can never acknowledge the truth about how they have treated you and the ways in which that they've probably unleashed a lot of rage or entitlement or exploitive behavior on you, and how they will always refuse to accept accountability, how everything will always be your fault. This type of relationship can never really be healthy, and it definitely can't be one where you can ever really make a healthy connection or even get to know who this person really is. Narcissists are constantly pretending to be something they're not, and that can include pretending to have feelings for you, pretending to care, pretending to be some altruistic, loving, kind person. This is all part of a narrative. This is all part of a fantasy world. Every bit as much as it could be if they choose to be somebody that's cruel or mean or domineering. Whatever it is that they decide, whatever it is that makes them feel good about the world that they're in, that's what they're going to pretend to be. Narcissists never spend a minute in reality. And for you to expect them to do this, while it may seem reasonable for any normal person, is something that's going to leave you very frustrated and waiting on them for a very long time. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.